Do I have sleep in my eye? Hey guys, it's Alice. So today's video is going to be another sit down video. What I am going to do is chat to you about how to deal with loneliness at uni. I have a notebook and I write things down in it. I would say this is a coffee talk, but I was too lazy to leave my room and go and get coffee, so we have a can of Coke and it's peach Coke. Tried this for the first time. Oh my good god. This stuff is incredible. If you like peach flavoured stuff, I cannot recommend this to you enough. This is so nice. Let's go. So good. So if you haven't met me before, hi, my name's Alice. Great to meet you. I am a final year psychology student. I go to the University of Brighton and I study psychology. A little bit of a backstory though to me why I'm filming this video. I moved to uni from living in Bristol and I'd lived there for 2 years beforehand with my family, and when I went to uni with a long-term boyfriend, so that ended up being long distance then because he was still in Bristol whilst I was at uni, and I didn't really have any friends in first year. I really struggled with friends. Having friends is something I struggled with for most of my life. Before the past like 2 years, I really struggled. I'd never had like one best friend, and if I did, it was never like a long-term thing, or I'd always thought that it was like one-sided and like stuff like that, and I'd always really struggled. The village I grew up in was really small, so there weren't that many people my age. I'm a twin, so there's always that issue of if you're not immediately best friends, you like argue over who's your friend and who's not your friend and who's my friend but who's not Grace's friend, da 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 da. And so I had like a group of friends in sixth form, but at sixth form again I didn't have like a one close best friend. Moved to uni and I am so grateful to my ex-boyfriend for being there for me in first year, because I was so lonely. I literally felt like I had nobody at uni to talk to. My housemates, I get on with great with them now, but at the time in first year we didn't quite always see eye to eye, and that was really tricky. Any like issues that we've had in the past are completely resolved, and I live with two of the girls that I lived with in first year, but at the time it was really horrible living somewhere I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel like I had friends. I didn't feel like I had anyone to go to, and that really sucked. That was really tough. It is something that I dealt with before growing up, but I think at uni, especially when you're away from your family, and I was having like family stuff going on at the time, so I also didn't want to be at home with my family, didn't want to be at uni, and it was just a really horrible time. So I thought I can't be the only one that had that, or some of you might be going through something like that, and I just wanted to give you as much advice as I can about what helped me with that. And I will say that my ex had a lot to do with it. He was great, and when I felt like I had nobody, he was my best friend. So ignoring that, just want to put that out there. I don't want to say all of this and act like I was all fine and dandy. He had a lot to do with it, and I'm very grateful for him during my first year. But yeah, so I just thought I'd share with you some of the tips and things that helped me to get through it and not be so hard on myself, and ultimately led me to finding my friends now that are amazing. So grateful for all of the friends in my life. Yeah. On here I have 8. I'm just going to run through some things that helped me at uni to deal with being lonely. I mean, I haven't written this down, but first thing I think you should know is that everyone feels it. Everyone is lonely at some point. Everyone gets homesick at some point. Even me, who didn't want to go home, there was a point where I was homesick. And so I think knowing you're not alone in that, even if you feel like you are lonely, you're not alone in being lonely, if that makes sense. So that's just like a disclaimer, prequel to the list. You know, I get very gassy when I drink fizzy drinks. Apologies. First thing on the list is don't isolate yourself. So it can be really easy when you feel like you have no one to talk to spend all of your time by yourself. Makes sense. Logically they go hand in hand. Have no friends, don't spend time with anyone. But when I say don't isolate yourself, I mean when you have the opportunity to be in the company of other people, do it. So obviously, disclaimer, if you are like really uncomfortable with the people you live with, for example, don't force yourself to spend time in their company if it's something that really doesn't sit well with you. But if that's not the case, you know, spend time with your flatmates, even if it's just you're kind of cooking dinner at the same time or kind of hovering around, because no social contact is not good for people. We're, as humans, you know, we can be introverts and extroverts, but at some point you know, human contact and relationships, social relationships are necessary for us. At uni, when you're in seminars and lectures, sit with people. Even if you don't know them, when you're in a seminar, don't pick the seat at the back where you're on a table literally by yourself. Just sit next to someone. Let's say you're in a seminar, they're talking about the assessments. I'll sometimes be like, oh my goodness, I'm so not prepared for that. And then someone next to me will be like, oh, I'm so far behind, it's ridiculous. And it just starts a conversation. So just because you may feel lonely, don't not go to things you're invited to if you feel like you're mentally able to go. Don't not go to uni, don't not go to anything like that. It is a cycle, I think. If you feel like you don't have any friends, you do things that confirm that, and it's really easy to be like, well, no one likes me anyway, so why would I go and sit with people that I don't know? But as much as you can, obviously these things are a lot easier said than done, but these are just things I found helped me. Because in first year, when I thought no one would come to something I did for my birthday, three of my course friends came, and that was really nice, and I was really grateful for that because I didn't think anyone would come. So stuff like that, you know. Next one is try a new hobby. So we all know that I did that by doing powerlifting. I started this thing called powerlifting in first year. I've got a whole video about my like fitness journey. It's basically a sport where you squat, bench and deadlift however much you can. I started that. I made some lovely friends through that really helped me in first year, and it was just something to get me out of bed in the morning was going to the gym. Even at the beginning when I went at like 7 a.m, so I didn't have to see anybody else, and I was so scared of like the weights section. I didn't want any guys to see me because I was like, this is really embarrassing, I can't even do like a push-up. I can barely do a push-up now, I have dodgy wrists, but that's another point. Going to the gym gave me something to get out of bed to do. Even if I then came back, got changed into other clothes and just like had a nap, I felt good in myself because I'd gotten up and I'd done something. And whether that for you is a certain sports society, my powerlifting stuff didn't involve like socials on Wednesdays, but most other sports like football, rugby, hockey, netball, all of them have like Wednesday socials where you can go and like drink and you make friends through that, and it gives you something to do. It gives you something that gives you a bit of a purpose, which I found was something I struggled with. I felt like if I had no friends, what was I doing? So that's something. If you're completely not into sports, I'm not sure what other like clubs and societies that are, but I know that they exist. I know that there's ones about music. There's so many different societies, it's ridiculous. Me and Charlotte, my friend, made a video about advice for freshers and surviving freshers and stuff like that. I'll try and link those videos. We made them last year. But yeah, get involved in that hobby. So whether that's just like, you know, taking a role in the committee or anything like that, just try and get involved in a new hobby. Or even if you just do like a sports class once a week, you might like start recognising people. And if you're feeling lonely, just having someone like smile at you as you walk down the hallway is actually a really nice feeling. It sounds just like a little thing, but it can actually be really important to you if you feel like you don't have any friends or you don't have anyone. Having that one person just like smile away at you as you walk past can really like lift your mood. Another one that won't be for everyone but was for me was read books. So as I've said many a time, for the past year I really didn't read any books, but in first year I read 67 books. In 2018 I read 67 books, and that was because I literally had no friends, so I had nothing to do socially, and so I would just read and read and read and read. And I preferred reading books to watching TV when I was lonely, because I felt like when I was reading books I was immersed into a whole different world and it took me out of reality. Whereas TV shows, you're just sat with your laptop or your TV just watching, and it's like you can see that it's not real. And that sounds so silly, but when I'm reading a book, it's like my mind is just taken off into a completely different world, and it's my own imagination, and I can create the stories, I can create pictures in my head of what's going on. Reading books really helped me feel less lonely, because if I sat and spent all day reading a book, I felt like that was more productive than sitting all day and watching Netflix. It just felt to me like a better use of my time, and like I was kind of not wasting away and like, I don't know, getting square eyes or whatever. My next one is reach out and ask someone for coffee. When I first started going to church, I went to church about halfway through my first year. I actually have a vlog. I was vlogging the week that my life like changed, and it sounds so out there, I got a random message from someone that I felt like it was too much of a coincidence to not be from God. If God existed, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is something. Went to church, literally changed from then. That's how I've like got most of my friends, and they're all angels and they're so sweet. Reaching out and asking people for coffee, I did that a lot. So I'd be talking to someone. Who did I first go for coffee with? it might have been Reese, was it? Don't remember. But I went through a whole phase when I was going for about 3 coffees a week with different people, and I would just ask people for coffee if I felt like there was someone that, you know, was really interesting and I could see myself being friends with. I was like, hey, are you around this week? Would you want to go for coffee with me at some point? And it takes like an hour, maybe 2 hours just to go for coffee with someone. And A, I love coffee, so that's a win for me. B, it gets you out of your house to look around the city that you're in, find a cute coffee shop, ideally not a Starbucks or a Costa or a Cafe Nero, go to like an independent, go explore, go find somewhere in your city that you've never been before. And just like being outside first of all helps so much with feeling less lonely, especially when I was stuck up on campus in halls. It was so nice to be able to go into town and just do something different and get out of the space I was in. It's like the changing of a friendship from, oh, a friendship in a group setting to like, oh, here's us hanging out one-on-one just with each other. Now let's like actually talk and not just joke around, you know? Next one is keep on top of your uni work. So it can be really easy when you feel like you're really lonely to just ignore everything else you have to do and ignore your responsibilities because you're like, what's the point? Another thing that filled up my time was keeping on top of uni work and making sure that I was doing the readings and doing all of the essays and coursework and everything I had to do, because something that definitely kept me motivated when I felt like I was lonely was the fact that although friends are so important, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here for uni. So uni's the reason why I've moved. Uni shouldn't be put on the back burner because you don't have friends. It sounds really morbid, but like, you're here for uni, do you know what I mean? Like, you've gone there to study, so study. And especially when you're lonely, that helps you feel like that's your purpose here. So your purpose there is to get your degree, hopefully in something you enjoy, fingers crossed. That's something that made me feel a bit better, was like, okay, this isn't going great, I don't have the friends that I want, but at least I can keep doing this and I can keep this up and I can keep studying and trying for my degree, and that will make me feel better because at least I'm doing something and I'm not just sitting and wallowing and doing nothing, you know? Next is FaceTime Old Friends. So depending on who you are as a person, this will help you or hinder you, so take that with a pinch of salt. I'm not someone that contacts my family that often, but if contacting your family is going to make you feel better, do that. For me, something that made me feel less lonely, because I've kind of moved around a bit before uni, I have friends that I don't see when I'm back in Bristol, so I would FaceTime them because it wasn't like I was used to seeing them every single day anyway. I hadn't, like, FaceTiming them was the way that I would communicate with them before moving to uni, so that didn't really change. That was like a type of friendship for me that didn't change from Bristol to uni, if that makes sense, because the friendship was always like a long distance thing, if that makes any sense. So FaceTiming people that didn't live near me anyway, or FaceTiming people who had moved to uni as well, yeah, just having someone like to chat to about your day. Obviously if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, great, they can be that for you, but make sure you don't just neglect all of your other friends from sixth form, secondary school, before that, family, friends, family. Yeah, another one, learn to enjoy time by yourself and actually rest. So the time you spend by yourself, don't see it as a waste of time, see it as you're investing your time into yourself. Things like gaining a new hobby, reading, they're all stuff that now that I have friends, I put on the back burner, and I don't spend as much time reading, I don't spend as much time, you know, doing YouTube or stuff that I would spend so much time doing and I liked doing when I had less friends. Then when I got busier, they kind of stopped. Think of it as like, well, there will be a point where I do make friends and I'm not going to be this lonely forever. So what stuff should I just really do now that I'll miss doing later? I think if you think of it like that, like I used to play my guitar for like a few hours each day. I haven't played my guitar in ages. First of all, it's still not in my house, it's still at my friend's house. It's literally been there since I moved into my third year uni house. Don't even ask. But things like that, you'll miss that once you do feel like you have a social life, if that makes sense. So I think trying to remember that, I'll use the word season, that this is just a season of like growth for you and yourself, and there will be a point where you come out of it and where you don't feel lonely anymore. That loneliness is not going to last forever, but if you try and remember that this is a season for you to work on yourself and to be creative, write things, write stories, film things, draw things, paint things, sing, play guitar, read books, you know, whatever it is that you want to do, go and do for yourself. If you want to go shopping by yourself, which I love to do, by the way, go and do that, you know, like this is your time to go and do that. And the next one, and the final one, is to find a routine. So for me, the thing, like I said, that got me up in the morning was planning to go to the gym. So that was something that got me up at the same time every single day and got me into routine. I watched a video recently, I think Liv Vargas did like a calming nighttime rituals routine, and that's really good as well. Her routine of like winding down, how she like takes care of herself before bed. Whether your routine is like, I don't know, lighting a candle, putting on a face mask, FaceTiming someone before bed, reading a book, preparing stuff for the next day, whatever it is that you do before bed to calm down, basically get a routine down. Whether it's, you know, you wake up in the morning, you make yourself a coffee, you read the news, you pray or read your Bible or something, or whatever it is for you, try and find a routine, because that will make your time feel time blocked and organised and less empty, because you'll be like, oh, I've got, you know, this time and this time between uni, I'll use that to do uni work, or I've got this time, oh actually I've got time to make a really nice dinner for myself that I normally wouldn't. So having a routine is crucial and essential, and I would recommend it to most people. But yeah, that was quite random, but that's just some of the stuff that really helped me in the process of being less lonely at uni and putting myself out there and finding new ways to gain friends. For me, that was, at the time in first year, was powerlifting, and it was being more open to people on my course. It was going to church, and it was reaching out to people, and obviously becoming a Christian and knowing God made me feel less lonely, because now I feel like I'm never alone because God's always with me. But each to their own, that's your own thing. I'm not going to preach to you about that. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I really do like sit down talking videos, but I do struggle to think of ideas. But this one today, I was like, actually that's something I really want to film. So if you have any ideas for me, please drop them down below. Yeah, so that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to love you and leave you. Hope you all had an amazing day, and I will see you hopefully next Monday with another video. Bye. Also, as always, repping my Goose and Gander, because apparently that is all I seem to wear every single freaking day of my life. Adios.